Hey there, have you ever felt overwhelmed by trying to keep your email marketing effective and organized? If you had to list out every email campaign you've ever produced, my guess is you might have a long list. It's really easy to get overwhelmed with executing marketing email campaigns, especially when you need to have some automation. You have to figure out which emails are going to go to who, when are you going to send them, how are you going to personalize them, what happens when someone opens or clicks that email, how often do you want to land in people's inboxes without overwhelming them. Now, I know that I have dealt with automation issues in the past, and I know plenty of business owners who have too. So if you are looking for a specific easy system to fall back on when automating your email campaigns, you are in luck. And if you know that you should be emailing more, but you don't have a system, then stay tuned, because today we have an amazing episode lined up for you, all about email marketing and automation systems. Welcome to another episode of the HerBusiness podcast. I'm Susie Daphnis. I'm the CEO at HerBusiness, and I am your host. Now, all month inside of HerBusiness, this month, we are focused on systems. Automation, marketing systems, people systems, systems to make you more productive, because systems are an important part of leveraging your time and energy and ultimately growing your business. And all month, we're providing our HerBusiness members with resources and accountability to up-level their systems. So I invited one of our longer-term members to join me here today to share some of her expertise. So joining me is Jovana Vujnic, an expert in email marketing automation. Now, she works closely with small business owners to streamline their processes and to maximize the results from their automation. Now, we're going to be diving into the nitty-gritty on how to make email marketing work better for you, from smart segmentation to avoid automation pitfalls, to the best ways to nurture your leads without getting bogged down in endless manual tasks, right? Which can really zap us of our time. So whether you're brand new to email marketing or you're wanting to streamline your current processes, this episode is packed with actionable tips from an automation expert who can help you grow your business with way less stress. That is what she does every single day inside of HerBusiness Bumper Leads. Let's get started. Jovana, welcome to the show.
Hi Susie, how are you?
I'm very, very well. Today we are talking about email marketing automation, all things related to systems and the work that you do with your clients. For those of us who are new to email marketing, can you explain what an email marketing system is and why it's important for business growth?
Well, I'm glad that you've asked that question, because we often see business owners referring to email marketing and marketing automation as meaning the same thing. They think it's the same thing. And so I think there is a clear distinction with email marketing and marketing automation. So in my opinion, my definition of email marketing is that it's a process. Email marketing is a channel, a process that we go through to send external emails to customers and leads. So they're external emails. Everything that revolves with email marketing for a system side of things revolves around sending emails. However, marketing automation is actually us using technology to help us execute a marketing and sales strategy. So it's being more dynamic. So it's actually having a platform or a process in place that says, if something happens, should I send an email, or should I notify my salespeople, or should I send this to my warehousing guys to start packing? So there are things behind the scenes that customers don't necessarily see, but the system kind of takes care of it. And so that's what I would call a marketing automation system. And then we have an email marketing system. And I know that if your listeners are using tools like MailChimp and, these guys are going to use the same terminologies, marketing automation and email marketing. They're interchangeable, but I have a definition that's kind of different. And I can explain more as we go along why I think that's different.
Great. Thank you for clarifying that. I guess the key is for small business owners to start to think about, how can I use technology to help automate some of the repeated processes that we do over and over again, or to make the customer experience better? And I know for us, automation is a lifesaver. It can also be, I don't want to say problematic, but there are definitely good ways to use automation and ways that could trip you up. So I'm sure we'll uncover some of those today. I want to ask about email marketing specifically first, and that is around segmentation. Because as we are automating our marketing, we might want to send a different type of communication or have a different action happen depending on who people are on our email list. So, how do you recommend we think about segmenting the people who are on our database in the first place?
Mm-hmm. It's a very good question. Segmentation, I say, it's crucial for any business. Whether you're doing it just for email marketing or whether you're doing it in business, I think it comes down to being very, very important to do in a smart way. So I would say for me is segmentation has to be done at the beginning, at the start, not necessarily wait until you get the leads. I wish we could do it at the start. So, and the reason I say that is because, in my opinion, and we'll probably see that not every lead is created equal. And I see this often with business owners trying to work out their own platforms. They'll have one system that works for leads, new leads, and then some that work for existing leads, and some that work for customers who are no longer leads. And so one simple way to segment, I guess, is to identify who is a lead and who is a customer. And that you can do that very easily if you have a website, if you're marketing online, if you're doing any promotions, running webinars and things like that. You can start to identify segments very early. You can do a little pop-up. And if you have a pop-up, you want to make sure that the segmentation happens at the pop-up level as well. So if somebody comes in and you're marketing a webinar, for example, you want to know that your existing lead or your new lead has signed up. So you have a new lead that signed up to the webinar, but you also want to identify if an existing lead in the database also signs up to the webinar. But you also want to know if your existing customer signs up to the webinar. So in your profile, if you had a very good email marketing system, you would be able to see that that contact has a tag or some kind of a label that says they are a lead, they're a customer, they've downloaded this, they've clicked on something, they've opened this, they haven't been engaged in the last 30 days. The last time they bought from you was 6 months ago. This is the story that we want to try and paint with segmentation rules. And so it's very important to do that as a business owner because you don't want to treat everybody the same way. And that's the experience we want to try and have a good experience. And when somebody comes in through the opt-in, when somebody signs up, when somebody buys, what kind of experience do they want to have with your brand?
I love that. And we've got an exact situation right now where we are doing Facebook advertising for a free workshop. Now, the free workshop is designed to introduce people into HerBusiness and ultimately to invite them to join the network. But because not everyone uses their business address as their Facebook address, sometimes members who are already part of our community are seeing those ads. So when they come in, we've got it set up so that they are segmented so they don't get the same details. They get an email that says, hey, you don't need this workshop. It's already in your members library. This is really for people who are not members. So, you don't need to show up. You've already got this. Here's a link to watch it. And so it means that a member's not going to come along to something going, I already know this. I don't understand why you're telling me about the network, right? And we can seem stupid and like we haven't considered that, that person's situation. But there's just so many ways that segmentation can allow us to be smarter in the way that we address people, whether it's their stage in the journey that you offer, whether it's the type of business or life stage they're at, so many things. Let's talk about automated email marketing campaigns. This is something that, as you said, is really important for small business owners to consider as part of their mix because we don't want to be doing things manually all the time. Can you walk us through some of the key steps that you walk your clients through when it comes to creating an automated email marketing system?
The key step, and maybe I should try and say what happens when customers come to us. What we see usually happens is that they sign up to a tool and then they start to create whatever the tool is giving them. They'll start creating the journey. Okay, so that is not the right way to do it. I would recommend for your listeners, anybody that's trying to do this on their own, one simple way to think about this is to think of your one customer, your ideal customer that you know by name, and give them a name. If they're John, if they're female, Mary, give them a name. And then think about that customer as somebody that you would want to have a drink with, maybe not just once, maybe 4 or 5 times. And that type of customer, creating a journey around that type of customer becomes much easier. So once we think about John, we can then start thinking about, well, how did John find me? So start asking those questions. When John reached out, did he actually go through the website? Did he call? Did he download something? What would you ideally like to have happened? What's your ideal process? And ideally, if you're in a service-based business, you want to try and think about ways of how do I save time when I jump on the call with my lead, with my prospect. And so if that's the goal, you don't want to waste too much time talking to the wrong prospects. Maybe it's time to think about that experience firsthand, what John experiences when they come in contact with you on the website or on the phone. And that will also give you some ideas around how you can train your sales staff. The best thing to do is, can you get them to watch some training videos and things like that before you jump on a sales call? And then I would also think about what happens. I guess I'll look at the purchasing process in a business in 3 stages. What happens before somebody makes a purchase, what happens during, and what happens after. And as business owners, we're always so busy getting customers, and we're paying for customers. We're paying a lot of money, paying advertising, SEO, doing all of these things to drive traffic. And if there is no way to capture that somehow, we are just going to keep spending money, attracting the wrong type of customers to the business. So that part of what happens before somebody makes a purchase is very, very important. I would spend probably 80% of the time trying to figure that out. But then once we do that, we have seen this, a lot of businesses forget. Once you sign somebody up, they sign a contract, they give you a deposit, they pay for your service. You kind of forget to nurture them afterwards, because all of that work is kind of at the front end, and the customers behind, they go, oh, okay, when was the last time you reached out? Was it 30 days, 60 days, 90 days? Is it time to now make John the VIP? How many times has John actually placed an order with you, or called you, or signed up to another webinar? We need to have some systems triggers behind the scenes that maybe your sales team is ready to follow up, because we can then choose whether we follow up by email, by phone, by SMS, because there's so many ways you can now do that these days with technology, and not everybody's going to reply to an email. So those are the kind of things that we have to be mindful of. But the 3 stages are before, during, and after. And just one customer would be probably the simplest way I could describe how you could create a really good lead nurturing process using email or whatever channel that you want to use.
I think that's really interesting because, we talk about attracting, converting, and keeping our ideal clients. And that's kind of what you're talking about. So all the effort could be going into attracting, but then what is the actual experience of converting them? And then what is that post-sales experience, which is just as important as bringing them in, especially if you have a recurring revenue model, especially if you want them to move up the buyer's journey into becoming loyal and becoming advocates. And every single stage that Jovana mentioned is open to great automation. And so, for instance, one of the things that we know is if someone doesn't seem to have responded to an email for a particular amount of time, then we have automated that we have another way to reach out to them, because we want to know that they are still interested in what we offer, or they're not interested in what we offer. We don't want to be annoying to anybody, but all that can be automated. And once it is, it just, one, takes the pressure off, but you also know that you don't have leaks in your marketing system. You know that people are being attended to. I want to talk about analytics. One of the things that we can do is we can keep sending emails. We have a system for sending emails, whether it's a launch or a weekly newsletter or whatever it is, but then we don't actually look at the numbers to determine if things are working. How can business owners leverage data and analytics from their email campaigns in a systematic way to impact future campaigns?
Well, yeah, systems, data, numbers. Yeah, a lot of business owners are scared when they think about that. The thing that I would look at, the first thing I look at when I work with somebody is their Google Analytics before I look at email marketing. And I want to see email as a channel to be in the top 5 of the traffic sources. So that kind of gives me an indication that they do use a lot of email. And then how does that compare to the other traffics? So for example, if they do paid advertising, if they do everything else. So then I know if there is any type of missed opportunities in terms of how we capture, or if there is opportunity for us to capture more leads, or if we're not converting those leads, because there's 2 levels, I guess, of conversions. You can have visitor to a lead and lead to a customer conversion event.
Right.
And so the Google Analytics is really still the best free platform that everybody can use and rely on still, I think. And you can easily determine the visitor to a lead conversion. What the email marketing tools will help us achieve is they'll tell us exactly how many, if you have a really good system, let's say like Infusionsoft or HubSpot, all these names, they'll be able to merge both sales and marketing together. And you'll be able to know that from the data that Google Analytics gives you, they'll give you generic information, very big generic audience wide, and the CRM or email marketing automation platform will give you very specific. So you'll know that John, if we talk about John, the same person, that he has downloaded something, and Google Analytics will just give us a number, 1 download, but the email marketing platform will give us the actual specific name of the person and what they've actually downloaded. So that would be one metric that I would look at in the CRM and compare that with Google Analytics. The other metrics, of course, are email open rates, email click-through rates, all of those things. Contact a database. Are you growing a database? Opt-in rate. If you are doing any type of testing, because in marketing we're wearing a science hat. We're trying to figure out what type of offer converts the best, and so we want to know and be able to compare different offers. So there is something called A/B split testing that we can do with the right marketing automation platforms. But in terms of metrics, I mean, general industry, it really depends on the type of industry in the database and the quality of contacts that you have in the database, the actual open rate. So we often get asked, how can I improve my email open rate? That's a good metric kind of to look at, but I wouldn't put all my trust into that. I would say the click-through rate, CTR, is probably the one that I would keep as my, that's actually a real human clicking that link and downloading something that you're sending. So for an email open
or hitting reply and commenting or going to your page or, whatever it is, but actually not just opening it, but actually taking action, which is ultimately what we want them to do.
Yes, that's the goal, isn't it? And then email open rates, I would say, the industries that we've seen, 40%. Every number that you see in your database, my goal as a marketer is like, how can I do more? How can I do better with that? How can I improve that? So whether it says 40%, 50%, I often see that early on when somebody downloads the first kind of initial lead nurturing emails, they're very high open rates. We've had clients with 80%. So that's
Fantastic.
Still high. And then as you gradually continue to nurture over time, you kind of average about 50%. But there's some lower. If you have a database that we have a client who had like 1 million contacts in the database.
Wow.
And they were getting 30%, which you would think, oh, that's industry standard. You should be happy with that. But really, they could do so much better because we knew that what they weren't doing is they weren't segmenting early on, which is what I think is really crucial to do. And when we start segmenting based on frequency of how often somebody opens an email, does it happen within 30-day window? How often does it happen in 60 days or 90 days? And we start to segment and start testing and sending the same marketing message to a segment that's a 30-day, a segment that's 60-day, and a segment that's 90-day.
Right.
I would say within 90 days, if you were kind of practicing that on a regular basis over 3 months, you would have actually seen an increase in your email open rates. And these guys have gone to 60%. So it's almost like double increase. Because
you just said something that was gold there that I hope you caught it. And if you didn't, just rewind a little bit and just re-listen to what Jovana said about segmenting your sends into people who have engaged in 30, 60, or 90 days. So not bundling everyone into one email, but actually segmenting it. Because ultimately, and I imagine the order you send them in is in the 30, 60, 90 days, as far as when you send. And that tells your system, because the people in the last 30 days are going to be more engaged, they're going to open more. That's going to tell your system, oh, what we're sending is really useful. It means that the next one will be elevated as far as it's open. That it has kind of this domino effect in a positive way. Have I got that right?
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
And it's also because the power really for email open rates is not a metric that the Mailtrips of the world and HubSpots and Infusionsoft and others will actually be able to truly give you the indication that it's not a really a true sense of that email. They're kind of guessing. It's like their algorithm that says, it's 20%. What we need to do is train the recipients, people who are subscribers and they use gmail.com and hotmail.com, whatever they use to subscribe. Those are the ESPs, I guess, what do you call them, email service providers, that are looking at your email from name and from servers. They're pinging your servers and they're going, oh, if you just keep sending the same things every Thursday at 11 o'clock, you send your newsletter and nobody opens, like that type of mail users or Outlook users don't open it, they'll look at it on a global level and they go, okay, maybe in 30 days you'll start seeing less of Outlook.com and Hotmail.com opens. And that's because they would have flagged you as, hey, be careful, this could be a spam. We just want to be mindful that we have some kind of system in place to identify and segment and be able to send, based on the 30 days, how highly engaged they are. High, medium, low, if you can think of it that way.
So good. And what I love about what you're saying is this is a really sort of mature way to think about marketing. Obviously, this is your business. But as you're listening, whether you're just starting out in business or you've been in business for 20 years, really start to think about what systems you can put in place around your marketing in order for it to be more effective. And of course, this is what Jovana helps her clients with every single day. Are you seeing any trends in email marketing or automation that we should be paying attention to?
Yes, there's obviously the trend. Do we mention artificial intelligence, the AI?
Right. Yes.
Has taken over. I've been in this space for such a long time that I would say the trends, if I look at the trends over time, in the early 2000s, there was a trend where we didn't have a lot of options as business owners to sign up to email marketing and marketing automation platforms. So we had kind of two big players in the small business space, and that would be HubSpot and Infusionsoft. I would say they kind of led the markets in that regard, and they really brought the concepts of what I'm really talking about, is the merging of sales and marketing together to get the whole picture of your customers. And then over time, those platforms became a bit more expensive, but then also there was a trend of moving away from what I call an all-in-one solutions. So all-in-one solution platform, like these guys, they have a CRM, they have an email marketing platform, they have checkout pages, landing pages. They do memberships. So they kind of brought everything in so you could see a whole picture. If you run an online business, it's perfect. If you're a coach, consultant, you could really get a big total picture of your customer. Then over time, the platform, lots of SaaS, kind of sales as a service, as a software as a service, isn't it? SaaS. The products came about, and so many people specialized in very different areas. And we've seen like landing pages, lead pages come in, and they took over that market share of this product that only Infusionsoft couldn't keep up. So we found that all-in-one solutions didn't have enough funding to really improve these product features that we wanted as business owners. So then the power was back into the business owner to go and create their own system. So we became more agile. Now I'm going to use that app to book calendars, and I'm going to use that app for lead pages, for landing pages and sales pages and CRM for that. So you can then bring it together, and then all of those played nice together. They all talk to each other, and it made it easy to create a system without, costing you too much money. I think with AI revolution that's coming in, and I've listened to an interview with Seth Godin, had a very interesting thing. He said AI is the best thing is the best invention. What is it? AI is like the best thing since the invention of electricity.
Yes, I heard him say that. Interesting.
That's really interesting because we need power, we need electricity to run the business. And AI, in my opinion, is still early stages. I see it more like a toddler. You would,
Mm.
if you give a toy to your toddler and you walk away, I don't know if you would trust them being unsupervised. So AI really needs supervision. It needs you to be the expert in what you're instructing it to do. We do see platforms coming up and now introducing, save time because of these AI features. Writing content being one of the most time-consuming things,
Mm.
which is great. However, just make sure that it's your tone of voice, and it's not going to be ad hoc. So these platforms are slowly introducing AI, and I know HubSpot is kind of leading the way in the space where you have a little chat assistant as you log in, and you can
Mm.
ask your chat assistant to create an automation to send an email to that contact. You can ask the automation assistant, the AI little tool, to generate a report for you. So you don't want to go and click there, find this report. This tool is going to do that for you. So creating automations, creating content,
Mm.
sending emails, that's all going to get better and better and better over time. So I think the move, if we talked about all-in-one solutions and then agile kind of ad hoc, now we're kind of
Mhm.
going back to all-in-one solutions, in my opinion. I think there is a trend of more platforms bringing in more as native features to actually make
Mm.
your system easier to manage. So you have one login that you can see everything, your members, your payments, everything is in there, and it's
I
much easier to
love
run.
it. And so, if someone hasn't made a decision on which automation system they're going to use or which email marketing system, do you work across platforms and at a strategic level, or do you have alliances with particular platforms?
Yeah, I think with a strategy, like it's foundation. I would say
Yes.
before you sign up, let's work on the strategy, and then that strategy will guide what tool you want to pick for your business. And it all depends on the budgets and features are all different, and it can get you have too many options, and a lot of people get overwhelmed with
Yes.
so many options. And so I would say let's work on the strategy first. If you just have a napkin, a piece of paper, and a pen, just start writing things down in terms of your ideal process. Then go in and find that platform that you want. We started off with ActiveCampaign
Mm-hmm.
CRM, which, in my opinion, is kind of an agile platform. It's kind of misunderstood in the world of all-in-one solutions, and I feel like it's an open source. It's an open API, so you can integrate with different apps that you love to use. So you can
Mm-hmm.
bring different things together as a native platform. But over time, our customers have now, they've
Right.
discovered Klaviyo, for example, is an e-commerce, and it's a really, really good e-commerce. That's another trend that I've seen, is these verticals, platforms becoming more specific to the actual industry,
Mm.
the problems they're
Mm.
solving for that particular industry. And so, yeah, we work with HubSpot's Zoho, Infusionsoft, Ontraport, all these
Oh,
other tools.
great.
Yeah.
Great, great, great. Well, we're going to put links to all your details so that people can follow up. As a member of Her Business, you know that we have a saying which is do what you love every day. And before I let you go, I want to let you know, what does an ideal day as a business owner look like for you, Jovana?
As a business owner, I work from home. So I love working from home because I built this business so I could travel, so I could have freedom to do what I want. And so I
Excellent.
don't have a particular, I don't have an alarm. I don't actually get woken up by an alarm.
Oh,
I am
lucky you.
naturally my body clock is in tune. So I'm an early bird. So I'll wake up at 6 a.m., go to the gym, and then work with some overseas clients, and then have time off. I love walking on the beach. And then maybe 2 hours, I'll have a focused task. And some meetings, and that's it. Really, I don't. I've automated most of my most of my job, that I have so much time that I kind of felt a bit comfortable, too automated. Can you be too automated? I don't know if you can.
I don't know.
A bit bored maybe some days. And so I ended up buying another business as a side hustle.
I love it. I love it. Many would be envious to be in that position. It sounds like you're really doing what you love every day. I want to thank you so much for all that you contribute to our HerBusiness Network community. And thank you so much for being my guest.
Thank you, Susie.
I hope you enjoyed Jovana's insights as much as I did. We covered some really great strategies for your email marketing, from making the most of segmentation, setting up automations, and how to use analytics to make smarter marketing decisions. I love the distinctions that she had. Now remember, the goal of all this, and remember we're focusing in on systems that will leverage your time, is to set things up so that you can do more of what you love, more of the income producing activity every day, while letting your systems do the heavy lifting. And if you want to dive deeper into the topics we covered today, I encourage you to connect with Jovana. We're going to put her details on our show notes page over at herbusiness.com/277. Now, I want to give a shout out to Clelia Costa, a life and business coach based in Lisbon, Portugal. She listened to an episode we did recently all about mental health for small business owners. It's a great episode and I encourage you to take a listen. But this is what Clelia said. She said, "I truly enjoyed this episode. Thank you for shedding light on such an important and often overlooked topic. Leanne's research findings were particularly insightful and deeply resonated with my own and my 15 years of entrepreneurial experience." Yeah, and the episode talked about mental health and owning a small business, and Leanne shares her story and the research that she's done on mental health issues and small business owners. And it's really nothing to be ashamed of. I encourage you to take a listen because she gives us some really good strategies to cope, especially when we're feeling a little bit on edge. Now, Clelia, thank you for your review. I'm off to Portugal for a retreat this week. I love your country. And thank you so much for your review. And so if you're listening, if you enjoyed this episode, we would love it if you would leave us a rating or review over on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you can leave your reviews. But Apple Podcasts is the big one because that's kind of like a big search engine. And when women are looking for a podcast for business, that's where they're going to find us. And I want to encourage you to, as I said, connect with Jovana, but also subscribe if you don't already subscribe, because the next episode is another systems related episode. We're going to be talking about how to get the best client testimonials. Yep, we all know testimonials are marketing gold, but getting those juicy reviews out of clients can be difficult. And in the next episode, I'll tell you exactly what to ask your clients to get those glowing reviews. And hey, you could even automate an email about them. I love doing this show for you. I appreciate you listening and sharing the show with your friends. I also love it when you message me. Now, you can write to me anytime at podcast@herbusiness.com, or you can connect with me over on Instagram. Our account is @herbusiness, all one word. Once again, at herbusiness.com/277, you'll find a summary of today's episode and links to the resources that we discussed. If you're new to the show, be sure to subscribe. If you enjoyed the episode, leave us a rating or review. I would so appreciate it. And join me next time right here on the Her Business podcast. Bye for now.